But at the end of that, they're going to be still short from that shortfall in that 3-year period. But the 3 years is the length of time that the owner wanted to go to. But the buyer was able to do a negotiation with the owner that at the end of the contract, whatever was accumulated in that 12 months time at the end of that contract. So let's figure it out. Okay. If there's $500, that's $5,000 in 10 months. That's $6,000 a year. A 3-year contract is $18,000. So the seller has a shortfall from $18,000. He needs $25,000 to cover everything. Okay. So from that point, the seller is short by what? $7,000. But the owner agrees to take back a second lien on the seller on his other property that he has in Wisconsin. Free. He's gonna put that lien and secure that lien on that property that's paid for. He's going to go through his attorney to get everything done. So a promissory note and a loan agreement forms, these things are going to be there to help to protect the seller. Okay. Because he can't take a second mortgage on this property, because keep in mind that the buyer can only qualify for 80%, and that the new lender that's going to loan him the $80,000 that's needed at the end of the land contract does not want him to have any second liens on the property. Remember now, you got to remember these terms here, is that debt ratio is a major factor that banks utilize, that is set forth by HUD, that the banks have taken that guidelines and have maintained it. And that's 24/36. What that means is that 24% of your income is what you're paying out for your current bills. In acquiring this property, your monthly payment added into that percentage form cannot supersede 36%. So it's 24/36. If it does, then that bank won't issue a loan. You may have to go to a higher risk lender that the rates will be a little bit higher and the payments is going to be a little bit higher. But you also risk the factor that the LTV could be a little less too. So now there's more money that you're going to need or have to renegotiate with the seller on. Okay. That's where I can see in the contract, whereas the contract itself, the land contract ends at that specified time. It shows a balance, but the balance can be transferred over to a property that you currently own or that the bank of mom and dad may have, and they may not mind because they love you and they love you a lot. Wow. And so they may not mind for the seller to take a second lien out or put a lien on their property while you pay that lien. Okay. They may help you in that fashion. You got a lot of mom and dads that does that for their children. And I applaud them for it too. Okay. So that's how you can exercise that. All right. Or that land contract can exceed the, from a 3-year to a 5-year. And that's where I can see 5 years coming in on the land contract. Whereas over that period of time, all of that money will be paid in that 5 years. Now, anything can happen in that 5 years. This is where clauses come in to protect your interests. And you better have them in there to protect your interests. As a buyer, you want a clause in there in case the seller dies. But prior to that, before I say that, prior to signing a land contract, you need to have a title pool. That's why you need a mortgage broker. Okay. If you don't know how to go down there and look up property yourself, because it's all public record, it's easy to look up, easy to do, but a lot of people don't know how to do it or don't have the time to do it. Okay, so you need to have a mortgage broker that can do it for you and get it done real quickly. Or you go to a title company and you pay the title company to pull title. You need to know who holds the invested interest in this property prior to you engaging into a land contract or a lease-to-own. You want to make sure that you have the right person that can have the right authorization to do so. A lot of people have been swindled on a lease-to-own and a land contract because the person that was on the land contract only held 25% or 35% ownership. And the other two owners was not willing to sell the property. So you see what I'm saying here? That's why it's important for you to have title pull, so you know that the name signed on the land contract is the person or persons that has the invested interest to be able to do what they are doing on the land contract with you or on the lease agreement. That's number one. Okay, got to have that. Number two, after that is done, you need to invest. Since you're in the long run, you need to invest into a house doctor. That I'm going to talk about that later, not now. I'm not going to throw it in there now. It will help you with the structure of the house and the integrity of the house, so you know whether you're buying a quality house, because the naked eye can be very deceiving, okay? Because you can't see everything. You don't know everything. So you always have to protect your investment. Remember, the house is the biggest investment you'll ever make in your life, whether you're on a land contract or whether you're on a lease agreement, okay? Under the land contract, if it's a land contract that requires you to acquire equity, that you buy equity into, then you have a clause in there to protect you to say that if you choose not to exercise your option for whatever reason, then you can sell your equity remaining that you have built to another investor. You know, investors do that. They go out and they get land contracts and they have 3, 4, 5 of them. And then they have time to wait on this one to mature at his time frame. So they'll sell out to another investor, and then another investor takes over. Okay. And wait. Now the other investor can either exercise, take over, because it's like assuming it is assumable land contract. They can take over and finish up. Okay. If that's so stipulated within that contract. All right. To protect your interest in the contract, what if the seller dies and the wife decides that she don't want to go through it? You need a clause in there that will continue that operation. It protects your interest, so you don't lose anything, and that she still have to go through with the contract. Or if they both unfortunately pass, then the executor of the estate has to continue that process, because you have a written agreement on that process that they will continue that. Okay. Now that's where you really need to sit down with an attorney to make sure that the wording is worded properly, and in the state in which you're in will allow you to do what you're trying to do. All these things must come together. That's why you need an attorney. Okay. There are other clauses that you want to protect yourself in there that's going to be standard in there that I'm going to go over in just a few. But these are just some of the clauses that you can have in there to protect your interests into the property. If your spouse passed, you want a clause in there that it doesn't default the loan. The land contract, because she may have passed away or he may have passed away. Because what's not known is that you had insurance, and so there's money left over from the insurance that's really going to add to what you currently own. And then what you make anyway, you can still afford it. But now having this extra money coming from the insurance plus his social whatever is really going to financially give you a comfort zone. So there should not be no default on the land contract. So you need a clause in there to protect you in case my spouse dies from here. The land contract is still enforceable and cannot be in default simply because I lost a spouse. Okay. So that, you're still going to exercise that option. All right. Other options that you could put in there to protect you under a land contract is that what happens if you get to that term and right before the time of the land contract is up, you discover that you were a victim of identity theft. So now it's going to take you about 6 months to kind of get that crap straightened out. So you need more time now to exercise that. But you have a clause in there that states that the seller agrees to give you 12 more months. Always ask for more time than what you need. Now, the seller may look at you as a contract is being prepared and say, well, why would I want to put that in there? I mean, you're like that. You expect something to happen. No. I don't expect anything to happen, but this is just a, be cautious. Well, I don't want to wait no 4 years to do this. I mean, I'm agreeing with 3 years on this land contract. I don't want to go past 3 years. I mean, if you can't do it in 3, then I'll get somebody else to do that. I don't want to do. This is where your negotiation skills is sharpened, and this is where you have to come forth and, well, here. This is this is a just in case. You never know what may happen. But here's what I propose. If that were to happen, I would agree to pay an additional, for you to extend this, I would pay an additional $400, $500, whatever the dollar amount is to you for that extended time frame. And that amount of money is not to be incurred into me earning equity in the property. That's just free money given to you just because you extended the time. Notice how you given something to the seller, so the seller can say, "Oh, okay, all right." That'll put something on the seller's mind, and also can give you the time that you need. Okay. Sometimes you got to go that route. You can find other means and other routes to go to. Yes, by all means. But I'm just giving this out as an example that can kind of like curve that negativity from the beginning before the land contract is even signed, because it's hard for you to agree for a 3-year term, but then you got a clause in there, or you want to put a clause in there that says that if you don't make that deadline, that the seller agreed to extend it 12 more months or 6 more months. Okay. The seller wants to know why. What are you expecting to happen? Okay. What do you know that I don't know? Okay, that started a lot of curiosity to flow. So you don't want that to happen. So you just want to have these kind of clauses in there for your protection. That's why I'm saying it's important for you to do research on a land contract. You can go online and get all information that you want about a land contract, but they're not going to tell you some of these clauses that I'm telling you now. They're not going to give you that. Okay, they may speak upon 1 or 2 clauses standardly in the land contract, but it's not going to give you or get you to thinking about what happened if this were to occur or if that were to occur. You need to know these things to protect your interests in what you are signing and buying. All right. Let me finish up. So basically, any money paid up front on a land contract or a land agreement is figured into the purchase price to help the buyer establish equity within the property under a land contract B. Okay. Even on land contract A, he's still gaining equity. It's just not so stipulated in the land contract, but the money that's there that's going to be used, along with what he's going to get from the bank to once he exercises the land contract, he's still gaining that. He just officially will get it at the closing table. Okay. Whereas in land contract B, he gets it automatically, and then so stipulate clauses in there that allow him that if he wants to sell to another investor his equity build up, he can do so. Keep in mind that the seller holds the lead invested interest, and so therefore the seller can still do what he wants to do. So there's no really threat to the seller. Okay, he can't tell the seller, no, don't sell. All right. The lease sale contract arrangement, the deal is structured so that the buyer has the option of buying the property at a predetermined price, or at a predetermined price at a predetermined period, as I mentioned earlier. Okay. And these clauses in a land contract can include the buyer to be responsible for, if agreed on by both parties, the taxes, the insurance, and the mortgage interests. Now, again, And a lot of times this is already configured into the total figure of the land contract.